After being struck by lightning, my best friend and I transmigrated into a popular novel. We quickly latched onto the prestigious Xie family. My best friend attached herself to the elder brother, while I clung to the younger one. Some time later, my best friend secretly whispered in my ear, "What should I do? I'm pregnant, should I keep it or not?" "Keep it, but you'll be trapped in the prince's mansion for life. Don't keep it, and this relationship can never see the light of day." But after all, we're women of the new era. How can our happiness depend on a man? Of course, rely on yourself. Live, your child is mine. We pooled together all the rewards we'd received from noble families over the years. Done, enough for us to live happily for a lifetime, with enough left over to raise an adorable child. So the two of us ran away with the baby. 3 months later, while my best friend and I were at the brothel cheering and clapping for the male dancers, the two Xie brothers appeared. I quickly stopped them and shouted at my best friend to run, but my best friend had already been yanked to her feet. I turned my head awkwardly, meeting Sierra Cheng's cold, arrogant smile head-on. "Weren't you quite the runner? Why'd you stop?" Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now the story begins. Xian. The doctor just took my pulse and said it's nothing serious. My best friend Su Shanshan pretended to gag while saying it. "It's just morning sickness, seriously." I immediately pressed my face against her belly, absolutely thrilled. "Shanshan, I think it just kicked me." He. Su Shanshan immediately pushed away my face that was beaming like a lovesick fool. "What nonsense are you talking about? It's only been 2 months, where would it even kick you from? Actually, we've always wanted to have a child, but who knew I'd transmigrate to ancient times where women's status wasn't high. If I were to have a child here, I'd be better off going back to being a corporate slave with higher status." So we came up with a brilliant plan. We latched onto the powerful Xie family's coattails. We neither sought status nor recognition, yet were ever so gentle and considerate in every way. We merely asked for a bit more reward money. Look at them, each so graceful and dignified, everyone a picture of elegance. The genes must be good too. So she simply decided to extract money from them and keep the child while ditching the father. It was practically the perfect plan. Thus, her best friend set her sights on the refined and noble eldest son of the Xie family, Xie Yian, and I was the one clinging to the domineering and aloof second young master Sierra Cheng. No matter what, aristocratic families truly have their ways. Whenever they were in a good mood, with just a wave of their hands, boxes of jewelry and accessories would be carried up to our little attic. When they were around, all we had to do was keep smiling. In their absence, we leaned against the railings listening to music, drinking tea, and playing chess. The most important thing was gossiping about the Xie brothers during our sisterly tea parties. Rich, with little work, and handsome to boot, who wouldn't love them? Just as we were about to forget our original aspirations and sink into these decadent, pleasure-filled days, my best friend finally sent good news. "She's pregnant, so you're really determined to leave, aren't you?" Su Shanshan wore an expression of hesitation. She had recently been so well taken care of by Xie Yian's thoughtful and meticulous attention that she began to develop genuine feelings. "I'll listen to you, wherever you go, I'll follow." Though Xie Yian exuded the perfect husband material vibe, yet his younger brother, Sierra Cheng, wasn't nearly as considerate. He's aloof and speaks little, and his domineering and scheming to boot. I serve him diligently every day, terrified of making the slightest mistake, or else he'll hang me up and beat me again. The most important thing is that he only makes demands on me out of desire, and it's endless. Just thinking about it makes my legs go weak, so I don't have much affection for him at best. He's just my sugar daddy. Su Shansha took a deep breath, as if she had made a great resolve before speaking. "Mountains may crumble, people may flee, but as long as sisters stand together, we'll always be fine." Tears welled up in my eyes. At least she understood that men couldn't be relied upon. "Then shall we go separately or together?" Going separately would bring too many variables. Sticking together makes us too conspicuous. After much hesitation, I grabbed my best friend's hand and said earnestly, "If we go together. Even if there's a pit of fire ahead, we'll jump in together. To die with you, Su Shanshan, would make my life complete." Sierra Cheng was a general, often away leading troops for 2 or 3 months at a time. As long as Su Shanshan could deceive Xie Yian, who was constantly hovering before her eyes, we could finally escape the Xie brothers. Then it's settled. We immediately devised a meticulous plan. First, we'll head to the ferry, cross the river to the north bank, then hide in the mountain forests. Once the storm blows over, we'll find a small courtyard south of the river to live out our days in peace. I pulled out my pouch of gold. and my best friend exchanged her accumulated jewelry for silver notes. Nearly 10,000 taels in silver notes, enough for us to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. Even raising 10 more children wouldn't be a problem. Then let's officially begin implementing the plan. The scheme to escape the Xie family and retreat to pastoral life was immediately put on the agenda. At night, after a rustling sound at my window, a dark shadow flashed by, then a warm hand came to rest on my waist. Wasn't he supposed to be leading troops into battle? How could he be here with me? Before I could even ask, he buried his face in my chest. Missed you. My face flushed crimson in an instant, even though we'd been intimate countless times before, yet I still couldn't calmly face his emotionally charged bedroom talk. Help me heal my wounds. Having said this, he lit the candle. You're hurt. Before the words were fully spoken, Sierra Cheng had already shed his robe. The second half of my sentence was abruptly cut off by the sight of those bronze, perfectly sculpted muscles. Now it wasn't just my face turning red, I felt like my nose might start bleeding any second. Say what you will about the young general, but his stamina and physique were absolutely top tier. With this thought, my little heart started pounding again, but I immediately shook the idea out of my head. No, I'm someone who's about to make a run for it. How could I let these temptations cloud my judgment? It's just a minor injury. Can't the great general handle it himself? Sierra Cheng stared at my unusual behavior. Suddenly, he pulled out a gold ingot from his robe. I widened my eyes. Was that what I meant? Do I look that money-grubbing in his eyes? Not enough. He pulled out another piece after saying that. In the past, he knew that just showing his pectoral muscles would make me obediently lie on the bed, looking at him expectantly. All I could do was stammer an explanation. I faint at the sight of blood. You were really enjoying that blood sausage earlier. He pulled me into his arms and whispered close to my ear. Are you upset because I haven't been spending enough time with you lately, or is someone making you unhappy? With that, the silver spear in his hand flickered. This guy wasn't usually so talkative, he'd just come at you straight away. What's gotten into him today? Suddenly so eloquent, and his blood-pumping physique makes it hard for me to keep my hands to myself. Indeed, you must feel I've been neglecting you. No matter. Tonight I'll keep you company until you're satisfied. With that, he immediately closed the distance between us. Before I could react, all my clothes had scattered across the bed. Warmth filled the hibiscus-curtained bed as we spent the amorous night, a night of passion, intoxicating and dreamlike. The sun is high and you're still in bed. How intense were you two last night? Su Shanshan teased her way into my room. Seeing the mess all over the floor, she couldn't help but lift the bed curtain and tap my head. Look at the marks on you, I can't even bear to see them. I groggily opened my eyes and spoke hoarsely. The one in your family always looks so refined, but actually makes quite a commotion. Su Shanshan's cheeks flushed red as she threw the pillow in her hand at me. Without any shame, I simply draped a thin gauze over myself, stretched lazily, and started walking around. But I noticed Su Shanshan seemed somewhat troubled. We need to implement the plan as soon as possible. If every night is like this, I'm afraid the baby in my belly won't be able to handle it. She looked up at me and mentioned there was some spotting last night. I was scared out of my wits when I heard that. Xie Yian will be going to the Ministry of Revenue tomorrow to oversee the compilation of historical records, which will take about a month. What about your side? This is truly an excellent opportunity. Sierra Cheng is currently leading troops in battle. It's just that yesterday he might have missed me too much, so he came back to see me in the middle of it. He's probably back at the military camp by now, judging by past patterns. He won't return for at least a month. After listening, Su Shanshan pondered for a moment before speaking solemnly. How about the day after tomorrow then? I nodded. As long as there were no issues on her end, there definitely wouldn't be any slip-ups on my side. After finalizing the time for our escape, we chatted a while longer, then we each returned to our rooms to rest and recuperate. Next was taking stock of the valuables. All the precious items that couldn't be taken along were converted into silver notes. Just as I reached beneath the pavilion, ready to step out, I saw Xie Yian cornering Shanshan at the doorway, in broad daylight. What are you trying to do? I watched as Shanshan was carried into the room. Then came the creaking sound of the bed. I silently clenched my fists and looked up at the sky in prayer. My dear, you're a tough little one. You must hold on. I watched as the pawnshop owner's hands kept producing more and more silver notes. I couldn't have been happier in my heart. Jade earrings from the Western region's tribute, pearl dance skirts from the southern border, gold and silver jewelry from the bountiful Jiangnan region. I don't care at all. These things are too big and cumbersome to carry away. It's more practical to exchange them for money. The shopkeeper smiled as he handed me a stack of silver notes. Both parties felt they had made a killing. We've reached a very amicable deal. I held the banknote in my hand, thinking that once the baby is born, I'll first buy the finest clothes, then when they're old enough to understand, hire the most renowned local tutor. My mind was completely filled with plans for raising the little one. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What a perfect godmother I am. To prevent others from noticing our departure, we deliberately called for a carriage at dawn when few people were around. But who would have thought that the coachman was actually from the Xie family, taking private jobs on the side? Fortunately, we were wearing veils, or we would have been exposed right away. That would have been like the late emperor's unfinished enterprise collapsing halfway. The coachman only found our voices familiar but couldn't quite place us. I could only shake my head and load all our belongings onto the horse. Then he led us to the ferry landing before departing, but the ferry boat was small. And aside from the silver notes, there was no room left for other luggage. You'd have been better off exchanging all these things for silver notes, he remarked. Susan Shan pouted. These are all dowries I'll give to my daughter in the future, things money can't buy. It was clear Susan Shan adored having a daughter. What if it's a son? If you dare curse me again, Xian, I'll kick you right off this lake. Cowed by Su Shanshan's domineering threat, I went to negotiate with the boatman. I paid triple the price to charter the entire boat. Only then could we load all our belongings and successfully cross the river. Oh no, I forgot the travel permit. I looked at Su Shanshan meekly. We'd have to go back again. We had left our belongings at the inn across the river, so we turned back once more. Unexpectedly, as soon as we reached the attic, Xie Yian looked at Shanshan with a smile and said, "Did you go shopping with Xian again today?" I was so shocked I couldn't speak. Muttering under my breath, "Didn't you say Xie Yian was busy with official business at the palace? Why is he here? How should I know?" I was about to ask the same thing. After we entered, a silver spear stood perfectly upright in the very center of the room. Xie was carefully studying a military manual. "Big brother is here." He stood up to salute, then crossed his arms and sized me up. "Didn't I tell you to wait for me at home today? Why did you run out again?" I felt as if struck by lightning, frozen on the spot. What is he doing here? Even if Shanshan and I ran 800 miles, this warrior could still catch up with us with his martial skills, and he alone has 800 new tricks up his sleeve. How are we supposed to play this game? Weren't you supposed to be off fighting a war? Didn't I tell you the other night that it's all over? The other night? Oh, I remember now. I was too blissfully intoxicated that night. I didn't catch a single word he whispered in my ear. Susan San stiffened her neck and tugged at my sleeve. "Are we still running or not?" "Of course we're running, we've already left our stuff at the inn. What are you two whispering about? Is there something we shouldn't hear?" Xie Yian raised an eyebrow and asked. Meanwhile, Xie also walked over slowly, his face carrying a hint of chill. "Or are you two plotting something shady?" His question made both of us freeze in our tracks. "Where's the hairpin I gave you? Why aren't you wearing it?" With that, he started heading toward the side room. "No, you mustn't go there. Because we've already cleared everything out." Xie Yian looked at the guilty Su Shanshan and said slowly, "The coachman told me this morning that you went to the ferry. Don't you think you owe me a proper explanation?" Could it be that we've already been exposed? Come on, you've got it all wrong." I grabbed hold of Xie, who was about to head to the side room, and coquettishly said, "Brother Xie, don't blame Shanshan, it was me who insisted on taking her to gather morning dew." "Gather morning dew?" I immediately nodded in agreement. "The weather's been so hot lately, it's giving me a stifling headache." We asked the apothecary, and they said morning dew hung by the bed can cool the heat. That's why we had the coachman go to the ferry at dawn to gather dew. "What about the dew?" Xie Yian asked. I scratched my head, somewhat embarrassed. On the way back, I accidentally spilled it and got scolded by Shanshan the whole trip. Now that we're home, "Brother Xie, you're not going to yell at me too, are you?" Xie actually nodded in rare agreement, then made an uncharacteristic comment. That does sound like something she'd do. So the matter passed as I yawned absent-mindedly. Then I had to watch Su Shanshan look at me pleadingly as Xie Yian carried me into the room. I avoided her gaze. Looking at me won't help either. These two brothers are each more cunning than the other. For now, we'll have to sacrifice some dignity to keep them at bay, then we can make further plans. But Xie is still displeased that I didn't follow his orders. He carried me straight back to my boudoir. Intent on making love to me, my legs immediately went a little weak. I pressed against his chest, after how intense it was the night before last. "And now you're at it again today, I'm worried your body can't take it." Xie frowned. "Don't you know how strong my stamina is?" Hearing this made me break out in a cold sweat. I couldn't help but complain about how this man seemed to have an endless supply of brute strength. just back from battle and still so full of energy. But he didn't give me time to think, he grabbed my ankle and pinned me to the bed. Don't worry about me, you'd better save that concern for yourself. I let out a mournful cry, but he didn't continue further. Instead, he gently pulled me into his embrace, burying his face against my collarbone. The voice was unusually soft and gentle. All right, I won't tease you anymore. I've been so tired lately. Let me hold you and sleep for a while. Just a little while. Then steady breathing sounds rose behind me. Yet I couldn't fall asleep for the longest time. The next day, after the two Xie brothers had left, Su Shanshan and I decided not to delay any longer. We immediately grabbed our buckets and fled. We contacted a carriage driver, rode to the ferry, and went to the inn to collect our belongings. The entire movement flowed as smoothly as clouds and water, executed in one seamless motion. We should change into some inconspicuous clothes, otherwise two women like us will surely get robbed. Su Shanshan thought what I said made sense. Then she exchanged clothes with a female beggar by the roadside. The female beggar wore an expression of disbelief until the clothes were actually in her hands. Then she immediately knelt down and kowtowed several times with audible thuds. She scampered away happily, skipping and jumping all the way. We even smeared some dirt on our faces. He immediately fled into the mountains. After much difficulty, we finally crossed the mountain ridge. We were stunned by the prosperous and beautiful scenery of Jiangnan before our eyes. It's hard to imagine the wisdom of the ancients, who had already lived such a rich and colorful life hundreds of years ago. Suddenly I understood the ancient saying about being too happy to think of home. We went to the local estate shops, found a fine mansion, high ground, excellent environment, and beautiful scenery. Nearby are mountains and rivers, with streams beneath our feet, inside the house. There are also bamboo groves and a water wheel. It can truly be called a fairyland on earth. We spent over half a year eating, drinking, and enjoying ourselves in Jiangnan. Su Shanshan caressed her already swollen belly, her face full of contentment. But I have one concern. This southern region focuses mainly on trade and commerce, so finding a good teacher is truly difficult. Seeing my worried expression, Su Shanshan casually remarked. Then let him play to his heart's content, no need for schooling. I splashed the tea directly onto Su Shanshan's face, over my dead body. Then I discussed with Su Shanshan, for the sake of our child's education, we should still return to the north. But Su Shanshan is in no condition to travel now. It would be better to have the baby first before going back. After all, we crossed mountains and seas to get here. Not even the powerful Xie brothers from that great family could track us down. And we've been on the run for nearly a year now. Logically speaking, at best we're just concubines they keep on the side. If we run away, there will surely be others to take our place. They might have already forgotten about us long ago. So once Shanshan gives birth, she can return to the north. Shanshan nodded in agreement. But as we drank our tea, we overheard two traveling merchants conversing at the next table. They were talking about the Xie family. We immediately pricked up our ears to listen intently. Have you heard? The two young masters of the Xie family are engaged, and it's said their betrothed are from equally prestigious noble families. After that, the two continued to discuss many events that had happened in the Xie family over the past year. It's said the eldest Xie young master fell gravely ill for over a month after the woman he loved disappeared. As for the second Xie young master, in a fit of rage he led troops to the southern border, but being distracted, suffered severe injuries. He was carried back to the capital by his subordinates, and it took over half a year to recover from his injuries. Afterwards, the two of them kept posting notices all over the capital. Everyone said the Xie family had two hopeless romantics, but the Xie family matriarch feared her two sons would ruin their lives if they continued muddling along like this. Thus, they continuously hosted grand banquets at home, inviting noble ladies from the capital to be their guests. In truth, it was to find suitable matches for the two young masters. Yet no one knew which family's daughter was ultimately chosen. The two young masters also raised no objections. This delighted the matriarch beyond measure. She immediately announced the happy news throughout the capital. Proclaiming the imminent joyous occasion, Xian, I have a stomachache. Just as I was listening intently, suddenly Su Shanshan grabbed my sleeve. What's wrong? I asked urgently, only to unexpectedly find my hand covered in blood when I touched beneath her skirt. I'll go call the doctor for you right now. Wait for me. By the time I hurriedly brought the doctor back, Shanshan was already howling in pain. The doctor said she was going into labor, so I quickly fetched the midwife. The agonizing screams coming from inside were unbearable. My heart twisted in knots. I kept praying that both mother and child would be safe. Finally, as the first faint light appeared on the horizon, A baby's cry pierced the quiet dawn. She's here. I rushed in to find Su Shanshan looking at me weakly. It's a daughter. You have a daughter now. Overwhelmed with joy, I wept and held her tightly, unwilling to let go. The little one seemed to have a soul of its own, smiling at me the moment it saw me. I burst into uncontrollable sobs right then. You must be filial to your mother in the future. She suffered so much giving birth to you. After Shanshan had given birth, I immediately arranged for the best postnatal care. I hired an experienced wet nurse and a clever maid to attend to her every day. Su Shanshan recovered quickly. Within 2 days, she was able to get out of bed and walk. After the child had passed the full month, I passed by the brothels of Jiangnan. Inside, I saw singing and dancing in full swing. I couldn't help but think how dull Su Shanshan's days must have been lately. It might be better to leave the child with the wet nurse for a while. I took her out to get some fresh air, so when we got home, Su Shanshan and I hit it off immediately. After getting dressed up, we swayed our hips out the door. We ordered 4 or 5 male geishas. There's no denying that the Jiangnan water towns truly nurture people. These young men are all fair-skinned and clean-cut, and so refined and handsome. If this were modern times, they could easily become male celebrities living off their looks. They kept calling me dear sister in their crisp, sweet voices. Their flattery made my heart bloom with joy. I took out some silver and placed it on the male singer's chest, then stroked his smooth cheek. Look how delicate and tender their skin is. How can they be even more radiant than us? Su Shanshan had no mind to listen to me. She threw even more silver than I did. Those male singers' songs and zither playing were quite pleasant too. No wonder those men love visiting brothels. I'd love to visit too if I were you. Who could possibly resist this? Just as I was tilting a male courtesan's chin to feed him grapes, suddenly, Su Shanshan let out a piercing scream. What's wrong? Did you see a ghost or something? I snapped impatiently. Su Shanshan said uncertainly, Xian. Did I just see Sierra Cheng a moment ago? After she said this, I also rubbed my eyes. Don't say it, but I think I even saw Xie Yian. Jiangnan is truly vast and abundant, even people can look alike. How amusing, haha. But before I could laugh twice, I heard the male singer let out a series of screams. Then there were only me and Su Shanshan left in our room, and standing before us were Xie Yian and Sierra Cheng. How did you get here? As he spoke, Xie Yian had already started walking toward Su Shanshan. I held the grapes to feed them, my movements frozen as if paused in a frame, watching Sierra Cheng approach, trembling all over, too terrified to move, as if rooted to the spot. I saw the fury in their eyes. We're done for. We've been running for so long, only to be caught in a place like this, though they probably don't take concubines like us seriously. But ancient times placed great emphasis on a woman's loyalty. Even a concubine had to be absolutely faithful to her husband. Then wouldn't women like us deserve to be drowned in pig cages 800 times over? Xie Yian was about to lose his temper when the nanny suddenly rushed in, holding the child. The baby wouldn't stop crying just now. I had no choice but to come find you. He must be missing his mother. Quick, comfort her. Staring at the unexpected child in the nanny's arms, the 2 brothers froze in place. It was only then that I realized. No matter what, Su Shanshan at least had a child to rely on. She would definitely survive under Xie Yian's control, but I had nothing at all. Lucky I was just thinking about how to save her. Sierra Cheng's expression grew increasingly grim. He saw right through me, pinning me firmly against the corner. You still have time to worry about her. She's fine, but do you really think you'll walk away unscathed? I swallowed hard, then cautiously turned my head and shouted at Shanshan. After all, I'm the godmother. Hurry up and save me, Shanshan. Su Shanshan and the child were both taken away by Xie Yian. She probably didn't hear my cry for help either. I was locked in a brothel's private room by Sierra Cheng. I was brutally taken night after night. By the 3rd day, I was completely exhausted. If this continues, I'll die in that bed. Hurry while Sierra Cheng is still asleep. I stealthily grabbed my clothes, ready to get dressed and leave, but then a faint voice came from behind. Where do you think you're going? He pulled me into a tight embrace, then he bit my ear while gripping my thigh forcefully with one hand. I gasped slightly from the pain. If you dare run away again, I'll break your legs. I immediately shook my head after hearing it. I won't run away anymore. Absolutely not. I didn't understand. Weren't the 2 brothers already engaged? Why did they have to come find us and put on this reluctant act? I suddenly remembered Shanshan, who had been taken away, and quickly asked, Shanshan just gave birth and is in poor health. Hurry and talk to Xie Yian. Tell him not to torment Shanshan anymore. Sierra Cheng also raised his head angrily to snap at me. Do you think our 2 brothers are as thoughtless as you 2 sisters? Then he grabbed my wrist again and pulled me into his embrace. Why did you run? Haven't I treated you well? Speak. His mouth sealed mine completely, leaving me unable to utter a word. All that came out were muffled whimpers. Sierra Cheng reluctantly released my lips with lingering satisfaction. He dragged me out and mercifully decided to let me have some food. The moment I stepped outside, I saw Su Shanshan's tear-streaked face. Shanshan, are you okay? Did he do anything to you? I'm fine, just. Her face was clouded with worry. I humbly requested Sierra Cheng to let the two of us talk alone. Sierra Cheng waved his hand dismissively. His soldiers were gathered in multiple layers outside the door, making escape impossible for us. I closed the door, and only then did Su Shanshan speak to me through tears. Xie Yian took the child away last night. He said the Xie family's child must stay with the Xies. He actually took my goddaughter away. Su Shanshan cried again as she spoke. My poor child is barely over a month old and already has to endure such hardship. And his already betrothed, how could that stepmother possibly treat my child well? How could I have forgotten about Xie Yian's betrothal? He just wants to take the Xie family's child back with him. But there's no guarantee he'll take good care of the child. I immediately grasped Su Shanshan's hand and spoke with grave seriousness. Sierra Cheng said he's taking us back to the Xie family. Once we return, you must find the child immediately and flee far away. What about you? With my heart steeled, I assumed a heroic and righteous demeanor as I declared solemnly, you go first, I'll stay behind to cover our retreat. At this point, there's no way for both of us to escape together. Our daughter is what matters most. You must go, don't worry about me. Su Shanshan looked at me with tragic determination. We embraced each other and wept bitterly. How cruel our fate is. After returning to the Xie residence, Su Shanshan was placed under house arrest by Xie Yian. We never expected to move directly from an attic in the outer alleys into the Xie family's estate. As for me, I stayed in Sierra Cheng's study. The servants of the Xie family seemed to have known us for a long time. They all greeted us with respectful bows, but considering our improper relationship, while they were polite to our faces, who knows how they were gossiping about me behind my back. And that day a little maid was in a great hurry. I asked her what she was doing. She said the eldest young master Xie was about to take a new bride. The household had been busy making preparations these past few days. My heart sank when I heard that. It had only been a few days since we were brought back, and Xie Yian was already planning to marry a new wife. Does that mean my goddaughter will soon have a stepmother? No, I won't allow it. But Su Shanshan was under strict surveillance by Xie Yian. Forget about escaping, I couldn't even get a glimpse of her. But there was no other way. If we didn't run now, it would truly be too late. When I was at my wit's end, I thought of Sierra Cheng. So, you want me to help Su Shanshan escape from the Xie family? Sierra Cheng looked at me as if I were an idiot. What's wrong? If it's you, I'm sure you can make it happen. Sierra Cheng frowned deeply and countered my question. Why are you so determined to escape? Our Xie family isn't some man-eating demon's den. Why do you keep thinking about running away? Hearing this, I thought he didn't want me to leave. No matter, I'd already resolved myself to die if necessary. I took a deep breath, speaking with both heartache and sorrow. Weren't you two already engaged? What difference does it make whether we stay or not? Shanshan nearly died giving birth to that child. And now she has to watch Xie Yian bring in a new wife to be the child's stepmother. Do you really think she'll treat the child well, if you help me? I promise I'll never run away again in this lifetime. I'll listen to everything you say. Isn't that enough? I mustered all my strength to utter my final words. Then, with tear-streaked cheeks, looking utterly aggrieved, a truly pitiful sight to behold, Sierra Cheng looked at me with a complicated expression full of confusion. After a long while, he finally spoke slowly. Fine, I'll help you. Stay by my side for the rest of your life. I looked up at the sky. Shanshan, my daughter. I can say I've lived up to you in this lifetime. That very afternoon, Sierra Cheng led armed soldiers straight into Xie Yian's quarters. Brother, what are you doing? Facing the fully armed soldiers, Xie Yian was utterly bewildered. I jumped out and shouted angrily, hand over Shanshan and the child immediately. How dare you keep one foot in two boats? Xie Yian was completely baffled by my words. What are you talking about? What do you mean by keeping an eye on the pot while eating from the bowl? Fine, he's still pretending not to understand. Then I might as well lay it all out. Isn't it true that you're already engaged and about to marry a new bride? Since you'll have a proper wife, why won't you let our Shanshan go? Unless you marry Shanshan and kick that betrothed woman to the curb. Phut! I turned back in confusion, only to find Sierra Cheng actually chuckling. I couldn't understand what was so funny about this. Xie Yian looked even more bewildered after hearing my words. He pointed at me and angrily scolded me for fooling around. Then the words that followed immediately left me frozen in place. What nonsense about a new bride or engagement? I was always going to marry Shanshan as my proper wife. Otherwise, why would I go through so much trouble to bring her back from Jiangnan? Xiaocheng, why aren't you controlling her? Are you joining in her nonsense too? The manor is already in complete chaos every single day, and you two are still adding to my troubles. Get out of here immediately. My head was still buzzing when I got thrown out. Just then, the Xie family matriarch arrived, supported by attendants. What's all the commotion about? What's happened? Nothing serious. It's just that Shanshan still refuses to marry me, and I'm worried sick. The Xie family matriarch looked astonished. To think there's actually a woman my eldest son can't win over. She must be truly extraordinary. No wonder my son is so lovesick over her. Her gaze then fell upon me. She smiled and walked over to take my hand. This must be the girl my second son likes, so beautiful. Caught off guard by the sudden compliment, my initial hostility toward her wavered. After all, the rumor was that she had arranged marriages for both brothers. But in my dazed state from the praise, I absent-mindedly replied, "You're not bad either." This made the Xie family matriarch burst into laughter. Only then did we realize that the so-called marriage arrangements were all just a misunderstanding. What kind of engagement is this? It was merely a last resort I had to take because I couldn't bear to see my two sons so heartbroken. Since we couldn't find you, we had no choice but to spread the news that they were getting engaged, and just like that, you quickly revealed your whereabouts. The matriarch of the Xie family remarked while sipping her tea. Then, that engagement was fake. It was actually to find us. I simply couldn't believe it. The Xie family matriarch's smile never left her lips. Of course, I've been wanting to meet such a unique daughter-in-law myself. I started to stammer. I turned to look at Xiaocheng. Since Xie Yian is going to marry Shanshan, I shouldn't stay here anymore, right? Anyway, I'm not pregnant, and Xiaocheng wouldn't marry me either. But who would have thought Xiaocheng would glare at me and growl, "Even now you still want to run away? My astrological sign clashes with eldest brothers, so we can't marry on the same day. We'll have to wait until next month's auspicious date for our wedding." Did I hear that right? Xiaocheng actually said he wants to marry me. My mouth hung open for ages without managing to utter a word. Only after steadying myself did I finally ask in astonishment, "So I'm not your kept woman? Have you ever seen anyone keep a mistress by sending chests of gold and jewels? Those were all meant to be betrothal gifts for you." My eyes nearly popped out of my head. At that moment, the matriarch of the Xie family also spoke up. "I was the one who told them to send these." "Well, do you like them?" "I like it," I answered eagerly. But then I heard Xiaocheng snort lightly behind me. I immediately felt a pang of guilt. After all, I had already pawned all the jewelry he gave me. With his methods, he should have found out long ago. Xianxian, Su Shanshan ran downstairs, and we embraced each other in tears. Xie Yian actually lied about marrying me just to keep me here. Who would believe such nonsense? I quickly covered her mouth, but she pulled my hand away. "What's the matter? Can't I even speak now?" I pointed behind her, signaling that the Xie family matriarch was present. Shanshan immediately fell silent. Then she noticed the red ribbons and red silk hanging outside. She asked in a daze, What is this for?" I burst out laughing. "Of course Xie Yian wants to marry you." "Ah." Covering her blushing face, she ran back to the attic again. Xiaocheng held me tightly in his arms. "Still want to run away?" I hugged him back. "No more running. I'll give you a chubby baby girl too. How about that?" Xiaocheng's stern face finally relaxed, but before long, he became